You're listening to the Devil Dog Talk Show.
This show contains explicit material and is recommended for ages 18 and older for mature audiences only. But hey, it's the internet.
Hey, everybody. Welcome to the Devil Dog Talk Show. So, Steven, how did you start your career and where are you now? Because I think that's one of the most fascinating realities of where we're at in this conversation is where are you?
I'm in Turkey right now.
Turkey.
It's my 10th country of residence. When I left high school, I was 19 years old, failed third grade. So I went into the military right after high school, 10 days after I graduated, and went to boot camp, then got sent to Germany. Spent just about 7 years in Germany, went to Iraq, got out of Iraq, went back to Germany, got out 6 months later as a civilian, stayed in Germany, did the European now. And I started soldier because I was heavily in post-war PTSD battles. And I got into the nightclub business, which most people do when they get out of the military. I was a doorman and all that kind of stuff. And it just, one thing led to another. Then I had 3 cocktail bars, a nightclub, an insurance agency, a construction company. And I just kept doing all this stuff to stay busy. I wrote a book, got my MBA in the UK, and started moving around. And then I worked for a large corporation, 3,500 employees, 87 locations in 9 countries, ran that for a while. And I just kept going. And I ended up, working with the royals, working with celebrities, working with governments. I still consult governments to this day. Just got off the phone with a Chilean politician literally like 2 minutes ago. And I've lived in 10 countries in total. And in those 10 countries, I've ran businesses, I've worked with governments, I've consulted governments, and I had a blast. And recently, about a year ago, my wife's Ukrainian. About a year ago, when the UK was sending rockets into Russia, I just made a video online. And I said, man, what is this bullshit? Right? You got the UK starting a war with Russia. And that video, Alex Jones shared it. Jimmy Dore shared it, and it went viral. It went, 30 million views. I didn't do anything. A month later, I did another video, part 2. Same thing. 20 million views, 30 million views. So I started making videos every day. And since then, I've been making videos every day. And those videos have gone up to almost 500 million views over the last 8 months across all platforms. And in my conversations, in my videos, I'm very, straight. So it's not left or right. It's just, I'm just, this is what's going on. They're doing this and they're doing that. Make up your own mind. And this turned into a movement, which is jointab.us. And it's called Take America Back. Tab. And that Take America Back has now grown. I'm on Patreon. We have the website, all the YouTube, all the channels, so social channels. And I have over 1 million people following me right now. And then on the Patreon channel, we have about 7,050 subscribers within the last 6 months. And these are all people that want to take America back by the citizens for the citizens. And Tab is all about that. It's one infrastructure that there's a book, there's a course that certifies you. It's university certified, that certifies you as a citizen servant leader, someone who wasn't in government, but wants to step up and get into government at the lower levels, because we can change the guys at the top all we want. But if that infrastructure doesn't change, nothing will change. So we're starting from the bottom and working our way up. And that's where I am now. Last year I raised $2.71 billion for my clients, for the projects that we have, that they have infrastructure projects typically. I'm getting out of that now. I'm doing this full time, moving back to the States after 37 years abroad to do this full time.
Wow. I think we just I think you popped my bubble. Where do we start? Jeez. Now I know why we use your entire name, Steven Eugene Kuhn. Because, sir, golly, wowzers. First of all, welcome home, right? Probably not under the best, circumstances to take care of a home that has been rotted by poor leadership for 50, yep. 60 years, however you want to, however far back you want to look at it.
Yeah.
But thank you, first and foremost, again, for being on the show, because takeamericaback.us, tab.us, you got me fired up. because I'm like, all right, we have so many talking points there, and this is the introduction, folks. And I'm just like, my gases are all flabbered. Okay, they're just gone. But when you leave off that important part, coming home to the United States to take care of, as a servant leader, being a servant leader to you sounds to be the most important. It's not that you don't have success, that it's not that you haven't created or built. And it seems as though your focus is on something particularly important to me, which I call infrastructure. I just go figure, right? And systematic structuring, development, and then delegation, exactly the same steps that you oriented, which was the tab.us, right? It's just amazing, because when we talk about leadership qualities, and number one, you have this concept called the humble alpha, I believe.
Yeah.
There you go. Unleash your humble alpha.
Yeah.
That is beautiful. Now, when you wrote that book, let's start with that. How did you come into writing that book?
It's funny you say that, because in my life, I worked for people like Mick Jagger, Olivia Newton-John, Andrea Bocelli, European Parliament, German Parliament, German government, a bunch of governments, Croatia, UK, and stuff. And people would ask me all the time, "How did you end up working for these people?" And I'm like, "What do you mean? Like, what did you do?" And I was like, "I just showed up and said I'm here." And they're like, "Oh, come on, tell us how to do it." And I said, "I don't know. I just do it." And they said, "No, you have to teach that." So I took about a year and a half. I had to chronologically go through my life from childhood until 2020, 21, and figure out what I did, how I did it, what I was thinking, what I was feeling, what was a time in my life. What was I, low or high to go high, or was I already high to go higher? And then all these different questions. And I literally went through every moment in my life. And then I had someone interview me. It was about 24 to 26 hours of interviews. And because what happens is when people are talking to you and they're asking you questions, you remember things that you completely forgot. And that leads to something else. You start going down this rabbit hole of like my childhood, or of my time in the military and the people that I met and what they said to me and all the things I remembered. And this started turning into a story. And then I put a structure to it, and I developed 5 models that I saw repeating themselves in my life. What made me successful? What made me someone who was likable but respected, right? What brought me to the point where I could get out of a hole that was so deep that it was covered in mud and dirt and cement, and I could still get out? What were those models? And that's what the book is about. So you have a story, you have the lesson to that story, and then you have exact action steps, how you can get out of your own holes, how you can have your own success. And the first chapter is all about identity. Who are you? Not what are you? Not what's your title? Not what do you do? It's who are you? And if you ask anybody in the world who they are, most people can't even tell you. They say, "I'm the CEO, I'm the father, I'm the mother, I'm the postman," whatever. That's not who you are. That's what you do. And for me, it was super important. And I remember the breakthrough moments where, you're like, man, there's this concept called creating space, right? Probably the most powerful part of the book. Creating space is showing up wholly and fully for the person or the people in front of you with no preconceived notions of a specific outcome in mind, focusing on the only thing that you can control, and that's the intention of adding value by solving problems. That's what I'm doing right now with you. I have no expectations. I'm showing up, add value, solve problems. And I was trying to remember the first time that happened and the first time I used that. And I'll never forget it. It was 16 years old. I was in the front seat of my 68 Chevelle SS with a bench seat in the front, right? And I had my girlfriend with me. And she was sleeping with everybody but me. and I was the only joker. I was the only joker that had a cool car, so I was the driver, and she would, anyway, you get the picture, right? And I'm sitting there, and I was loving this girl, and she wasn't loving me back. And I remember saying, "You know what? It feels so good to love. I don't even care if she gives it back. I'm just giving." And that hit me when I was home driving, and I was home on I don't want to say leave, but I was home visiting, and I drove by her house. I'm like, "Oh man, that's where so and so lived." And then I started thinking, I said, "Oh my God, that's the first time I ever created space." And so like I have points in my life where I can point to where every single model came from the first time I did it, when I used it later, and how I used it in business, and how I used it in the military, and how it led me through life. And that's why the book literally has become college curriculum in about 10 universities, because and coaches use this as it is. Because you can read the chapter, do the action steps, you're done. You have your identity. Read the chapter, do the action steps, you're done. You have your purpose. You know, it's amazing, actually. And I never thought that I was going to write a book about it. It's just that people keep asking me, how'd you do it? And I have no idea. This is how now I can say, this is how you do it. So
That's beautiful, man. You know, honestly, that is some of the best words I could have, you know, just the whole process, you know, regressing, analyzing, you know, taking the time, setting a space, right? And allowing yourself, you know, to be in your own space that you've created, much like giving to others. That way you can continue giving, right? You have this amazing book, and it's going to change lives. Clearly, hopefully more students read it, more people, more men, more women who are looking to unleash that humble alpha, right? Because the moment you do, regardless of your circumstances, like you said, you're not in it to get something, you're in it to give something. And I find that just amazing.
here's the thing. Well, here's the thing. When you are aligned with your true identity and you have your purpose, your identity is amplified by your purpose. And that amplification is a frequency. And that frequency attracts the people at that frequency, which is why you always win, right? So if you're at a higher frequency and someone isn't, you have to elevate them. You have to elevate them up by teaching them, by helping them, by pulling them up by the neck if you have to, right? And if you're at a lower frequency, you strive to get higher, right? So that's one thing. The second thing is the humble is on the outside. The alpha is on the inside, right? So we say it's your solar plexus, your nuclear reactor right here in your chest. That's where the true power comes from. An alpha walks into a room, doesn't have to say a word, right? You see it. You've seen it. You've been in a room before and someone walks in, everybody turns like, who's that? They didn't say a word, man. That was their aura. That was their frequency. That was their energy that just walked into that room. Why? Because they're 100% certain of their abilities to deploy their genius or their talents in any given situation. Right now, if a hurricane came into that window, if a SWAT came into the door, if my kid fell and broke his arm or something, God forbid, knock on wood, I know I can deal with it. Zero doubt. Zero. Matter of fact, it's a lack of all doubt. There's like, you have belief, which is active. Oh, I believe. Then you have faith, right? Faith is like, I'm going to go to church. I have faith in God, but I'm going to pray every week for the same exact thing. So do I really have faith? I don't know, because I'm asking for the same thing, right? And then number 3 is knowing, right? Certainty. You just know. And certainty allows you to let go of the how you're going to do anything. So when I move forward, like with Join Tab, I had no plan of what I was doing. I had no idea I was even going to do it. It developed as it came. And when I receive something, I have a simple rule in life. I made this up. I didn't get it from anybody. I made this up. 3 steps: receive, decide, let go. Receive what's in front of you, decide what to do with it, and let everything else go. It doesn't serve you. And that's how I live my life. And then if you create space on top of that, dude, you're free. You're completely free. No pressure, no doubt, nothing that bothers you. Look, if I don't like it, I let it go. If I don't want to do it, I don't do it. I don't care how much money it pays. And that's not because I have a lot of money. That's because money isn't the driver, right? So this tab, Join Tab, I was just talking to this politician in Chile. I know him since 2003. So I just spoke German because he speaks German, sorry. And I know him since 2003. And he said, we were talking, and he said, like, I can see how you're not even trying. It's just happening. It's organic of what's happening with Join Tab, because that's who I am. I'm the guy that walks into look, I've turned companies around. Oh, I worked for a NASDAQ company. I worked for a PLC, which is a publicly listed company in the UK, South Africa. And I turned these companies around, and they're like, how do you do this? Because this company was failing for years. It's people. It's people. It's simple as that. We know that from the military. It's always the people. It's the look, you put a structure in place, so that's a structure. Now I got to get you believing in it. I got to get you where your focus and your mission and your vision of your life is aligned with that structure. And if it's not, how can we fix it? And then you let them go. I always had the 3 solution rule, right? So when I was running this company, I had all these people, hey, Steven, I got this problem. I'm like, well, give me 3 solutions that you would suggest. Like, 3 solutions? Well, yeah. One is a sales guy or whoever your position is. One is a client, and one is a leader. Go. I don't know. Well, figure it out. And then the first time they do it, they give you 3 solutions, and you say, which one would you stand behind? They pick one, and then you go with it. No matter what you think, no matter what I thought, I said, okay, go with it. They did that maybe one more time. After that, they did their own thing and they knew exactly what to do. You see what I'm saying? So
Absolutely.
The point of a leader that I've always seen, and I did this all the time, was to get yourself out of the position so that other people can grow. And that's the one thing that I always saw, is that when I went into these businesses, and I had thousands of people that I hired, I mean thousands of people that I hired and fired, my goal was always to get them to the point where they were doing things that they never in their wildest dreams thought that they could do. And it's the most amazing thing. And what that does for a leader is it strengthens your ability to spread and to go out. And when you talked about delegation before, sorry, I'm just rambling here.
No, you're doing fine. This is amazing. I'm so happy.
Yeah. Okay. Well, I was in Zurich, Switzerland, working, and I was running these different businesses, or one business in different locations. And Apple came to recruit me, and I was like, Apple? The hell, man! I don't know anything about electronics. And like, no, we want you to run the DACH cluster, which is Germany, Austria, and Switzerland, because I speak German. And I said, all right, let me go to the interview. I went to 14 interviews. 14 interviews. I'm like, what is this, guys? What, are you kidding me? And then the last interview, the guy from wherever Apple's headquarters is, the second in charge, actually came out to interview me. I forget what his name is. One of the big wigs. And he's sitting there and he goes, I think you're full of shit. I was like, okay, what do you mean? He goes, well, I'm looking at your resume. You're running a corporation. You got 3 businesses in Berlin. You're living in Budapest. And you have this book and this other stuff you're doing. There's no way you're doing all this. There's no way you're doing all this. How can you run all these 87 locations and do all that stuff on top of it? It's simple. And he said, well, tell me then. I said, delegate the task, not the responsibility. And he went, oh, write that down. To his assistant, write that down. And he was like, how do you mean? I said, like, I don't do the work. That's what a leader does. You train people to do the work, to feel empowered, to grow. I'm just responsible that it gets done, not to do it. And he was like, wow. I went back in the office a couple of weeks later to turn them down. It was like $300K a year, plus trips back to Budapest every weekend, because that's where my kids were, plus an apartment, plus a car, plus all this stuff. I'm like, nah. Because it was more money than I was making at the time, but it was a cult. So I was like, no, thanks. And I went back in the office a couple of weeks later, and it was on the wall in big letters: delegate the task, not the responsibility. I thought that was pretty cool.
That is awesome. Because to speak to that powerful point, right? You can't be expected to do everything, right? We're not omnipresent. Okay. So when we discuss things like ideas, concepts, infrastructure, development, large scale vision, gestalt, point of views, and purviews, where it's like,
hey, German, do you?
Tiny bit, right? So since we're rambling, right? It was a wrestler. We grew up. My uncle taught me a little bit. He served in Germany in the army. And my kid, Sven, which is the most German name you could think of besides Adolf.
Actually, the guy I was talking to in Chile is a German Chilean. His name is Sven. Not even kidding.
Watch it be the same guy. I'm just going to shit bricks. God will be like, hey, you like serendipity? Here you go, Joey. Yeah. Right? Yeah, but no, he taught us a couple terms, The nickname Osakilla was my name because I wrestled heavy weights and I weighed 185 pounds. So it was hilarious, right? So that was his little nickname for me. He ended up going, I think, to Columbia on a wrestling scholarship. Great kid. Great kid.
I sucked at sports in high school, man. I sucked at sports so bad in high school. I tried hard. I tried everything. I tried wrestling. First time I went to wrestling, one of the jocks took me out and like overextended my neck, and I was walking around like this, and then I had to go to the hospital. It was in that. So I quit that.
Yeah.
I played football for 4 years. Sucked bad, but self-belief. I didn't even know who I was. When I went in the military, I figured that out. And when I got out of the military, I was stationed. When I got out in Berlin, in Germany, I played for the first league of Germany, which is right under the NFL, and I crushed it.
Wow!
And I was lighter from weight. I was lighter, and I still played line than I was in high school. And I cried. They were triple teaming me, and they couldn't even stop me because I had this belief, like, No one can stop me.
Yeah,
It was
you know,
crazy.
that fundamental belief, right? Where it's not ego. It's just
No.
there's this drive. I still wake up with this fire in me that I don't comprehend. I just follow it because ever
Yeah.
since I was a kid, that's it. You know, there's so many things you could do to find your identity. Where if you put yourself out there, you give it 100%. People think this is sarcasm, and I'm like, no, 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 no. Every task, like you said, when you're with somebody, when you create a space, this is this moment, right?
Yeah.
This is now. This is you got me. Hey, even when people text me the same drive, like, how do I give this person 100%? Even if right? It could be good, it could be bad, but the isn't what I'm giving. What I'm giving is this drive, right? And I find it to be amazing because so what? You know, sports didn't work out. It wasn't good. You found an identity that you resonate on a level that you've created such profound, not just wealth, but creation. Okay. So vision dictates what? Action. Action dictates creation. And if we don't look at those steps, if we forget, right, we get excited. Everybody gets excited, man. I'm excited right now. Shit.
I'm always excited.
Yeah.
I'm always
Yeah.
excited. I'll be 60 in a year and 3 months. 60. I feel like I'm 25, man.
I love that energy. You know, I just turned 40 last year, and it's one of those things that I meet people regardless of age. I know 80-year-old gentlemen that me and them, we talk at length just about profound things, experiences in life. And it's this fire that I'm just
Yeah.
like, yes, it's that light, you know, of life, that true essence of self and what we're here to do and build. Now, I got to ask you, when you're
Yeah.
going through these evolutions of self, okay?
Yeah.
Because we'll get all the story out, folks. Don't worry. But the essence of self, when you're there in a moment, let's say you have either an amazing expression that you wish to give, or maybe it is difficult. You had to hire and fire people probably in the same day, right? How do you manage to still, even in that moment of maybe perceived negatives, hold space for those that are in need of clarification?
Well, it's a process. It's never that one moment in time. Anyone who I fired knew they were going to get fired before they got fired because of the let's say, I don't want to call them reviews, but the talks that we had going up to it, giving them chances, giving them tips, giving them trips, coaching them, helping them out, giving them, you know, sort of the answer sometimes just so they could get ahead. Because it's never about what they do for me. It's about how they feel about what they did. And that's what drives people to be better. It's not me making them better. It's them feeling better. And so I was always trying to implant this into them and get it to bring out of them extraction. Because motivation is easy, but it's short term. Inspiration is where real drive comes from. Inspiration is from within. Motivation is from without, right? And so that was always my thing. So by the time we got to the time we were firing them, it was like, and they're like, yeah, I know, I got to leave, don't I? Like, yeah, unfortunately, you got to leave. Love you. Stick around. Let me see if I can help you find something else. And it was that simple. It was never like harsh. You're out of here. None of that stuff ever, you know.
Maintaining that humility and humbleness and servant leadership, right?
Yeah.
And that's beautiful because, you know, I've had excruciating circumstance throughout my life, and I don't mean it topically, I don't mean it depth, I just mean it, hey, everybody's battling battles, right? It's but the war has been won, and I think this is something that we forget. The path has been laid before us, not just in your amazing book Unleash the Humble Alpha, right? The best books, right? All of them lead back to this approach of life where when you become that servant leader and when you create not just a space, but a connection with one another with love and positive intention, even the worst circumstances can be positive because hopefully those people you help, no, I shouldn't say help right at the time, they see it as an opportunity to then.
But they do see it as help because you've
Yeah.
helped them all the way through the process to the
There
point
you
where
go.
you couldn't help them anymore. And there's something else in the book. It's called HIT. And they used to call me the Hitman because I taught this when I was in the corporate world. This is something I made up as well. I developed. I won't say I made it up. I developed it. It's called honesty, integrity, and transparency. Honesty with yourself, why you think, do, and say what you do. The transparency is how you step into the world with that honesty, and it's your ongoing reputation. The byproduct is integrity. Integrity makes you authentic. Authenticity allows you to dictate your market value and makes you authentic, right? So when you're honest with yourself, that's the most important part. Honesty to the outside means nothing if you're not honest to the inside. Because if you're being honest to me, but you're not being honest to yourself, I can feel it like instantly. Most people can too, intrinsically or subconsciously, they feel it. So honesty with yourself, like, why do I not like this guy? Why is this guy really getting under my skin? He's a mirror, probably, right? Something in him that he's doing better than what you want to do, or something in you that you don't like, you see in him. So when you're honest with yourself about this kind of thing, it transforms your entire world, because then you understand nobody out there can dictate my feelings, my happiness, my mood, unless I let them. And the reason I let them do that is because something in me it's like this. If it's out there, it's in here. If you want to break it down. If something's bothering you out there, it's because it's already in here. So fix this in here, and that out there, it won't bother you anymore. So these are all things that you learn when you're a leader. If you have someone in your team, like, oh, that guy gets under my skin so bad, that honesty with yourself is how you get over that. Not trying to change them, not changing, oh, let me change my mindset. Let me accept him for who he is because he's, it's not about that. It's about you. That honesty with yourself is the key thing in anything that you do in life. Because we lie to ourselves all the time for justification, just to get by, oh yeah, my wife, she's trying hard or whatever. Maybe, it should have ended 5 years ago. You don't know, right? Because we lie to ourselves, right? So that's one of the big things, the hit principles is what they call it. The Hitman. I used to like that. That was a cool.
That is a really cool nickname, man.
Isn't it?
Yeah. I'm like, honestly though, but honesty, integrity, and what was the last part?
Transparency,
honesty, integrity, interrogation. No, honesty, integrity, transparency. Freudian slip, Joey. Hey, but no, let's see. That's a really great thing to break down a bit, because honesty, you're right. It can't be just between one another, because I could give the best advice in the world, but if I'm not following it myself, what is it that I'm really living by? Yeah. Right. And if the silence may be perceived as maybe a form of integrity, right? Because this is where I see the masses of our people, the United States citizen, right? The people who want to be citizens, whatever it is, right? But to do something that is profoundly bigger than yourself, there has to be that corresponding truth, right? That honest connection, and base it on an integrity, a deep bond, right? Because to me, when you say these things, like even transparency, where we're like, hey, how do you be transparent, right? How do you share with maybe perhaps somebody that needed more depths of help, right? Maybe their character was being challenged or something, their integrity was being challenged, or their identity was in a shift, because then we can rationalize poor performance in a way where you could then strategize, you can develop, and you can support. I always find it very much so more important to educate. Coachability, you brought that up, right? Coachability is the number one thing that I am glad that ever since I was a young man, my father definitely said I'm good at, because, hey, I'm not the sharpest tool in the shed. I'm not the brightest crayon in the box. But I get the work done.
This guy. Yeah.
You just got to put your best foot forward,
Yeah, but this is the thing. The thing is, we get told our whole life how to be, what to act, what to wear, how to look, what to say. This is how you become a coach. This is how you become a this. This is how you become a that. And we forget that naturally we can be anything that we want to be, in any place, in any space, at any time. And if you let go of what you think you're supposed to be doing as a coach, as a business guy, as a leader, as whatever, and just do what comes naturally to you within a framework, you're going to see someone that you've never seen. I've developed over the past year, especially since I married my wife, since I got married. She called me out plenty of time. I'm a nice guy. I like helping people. I really do. And of course, you get taken advantage of sometimes. And I would let it go, like, whatever. It's not, no skin off my back. I help them. It's fine with me. And she's like, no, it's not fine. You're wasting energy on people that don't care. They don't even say thank you. And through those the last 4 years since we've been together, man, I've really, really grown. And the more I grow, the less things that I do that I don't want to do. And I don't care what it is. If it's admin, I ain't doing it. I got someone to do that for me. If it's, going into the spreadsheets, I ain't doing that no more. I know how to do it. I got my MBA, I don't want to do any of that stuff. So the more I focus on what I'm good at and what I can accomplish and where I have the most impact, the better it gets. Everyone says, focus on the 80% that you're bad at and make it better. No, focus on the 10, 20% you're good at. I'd rather have 1% increase in 10% than a 1% increase in that 80% of what I'm bad at. I want to be best, right? For me, not for anybody else, for me. There's no measuring against anybody. I never measure myself. I used to measure myself against anybody. How can I be the best version that I know I can be? And thank goodness I'm the kind of guy that never said, not one time, oh, I made it. I made it. I'm here. I made it. I didn't. I've never made it in my mind. I've always been going on and on. And when I get somewhere, I just keep going. I'm doing this and I'm doing that. And when you have a partner that supports you, like my wife, not only supports you, but works with you and pushes you and sees what's in you and says, why aren't you doing this? Why aren't you doing that? And the book that I'm writing now called Citizen Servant Leader comes only through her. Because when the Ukraine war broke out, I wasn't saying nothing. I said, I'm not getting involved in this. No way. And she goes, how long are you going to stay silent before it comes being complicit? Because you haven't, yeah, I know. I was like, what? I said, who are you? You my coach or what? And I was like, oh man, damn it. Now she called me out. And so I made that video and it went nuts. And I was like, holy shit, she was right. And why did she say that? Because I talked to her about this stuff and she goes, people need to hear what you have to say. What you have to say isn't just some thought. It's a process and it's applied knowledge that you've had experience through your entire life, your 58 years, whatever it was at that time. And I thought, well, yeah, no one wants to hear this shit. And they did. And it blew my mind. It still blows my mind. People, like Sven, I was talking to him in Chile and he was sitting at a cafe and some guy came behind him, was looking at the camera. He's like, is that Steven Kuhn? I follow you on Instagram. And and Sven was like, what? Yeah, that's him, man. I'm like, hey, how you doing? My wife and I were in Italy and sitting at a cafe somewhere. I don't remember where it was, Naples or something. Some guy comes up and says, are you Steven Kuhn? I'm like, yeah. And it cracks me up in a way because I spent my whole life living in 10 countries, working in governments, working with celebrities, working with royals, and you name it, I did it. I did TV. I was an MTV VJ in Germany. I was a newscaster. Like you name it, I did it. Did movies and all kinds of stuff. And you get recognized for Instagram. You know what I mean? You're like, man.
It's like, shit, I didn't need to do all that shit. I just needed to be honest, like my wife had said I should. Damn. Where were you 30 fucking years ago, woman? God damn.
Exactly. You nailed it. Oh man.
That's beautiful.
So but it's good. And you talk about humility and that you got to be humble to take that stuff. My wife's 18 years younger. And to take that advice from somebody, if I was a normal guy, I'd be like, dude, come on, baby. Come on. I'll be 60 years, so you can't tell me what, I mean? Like you'd have that ego. But I listen to her because she's a clever woman who's got some shit under her wing. It's incredible, man. So to be humble enough to, I had a guy call me the other day, write me the other day, hey, Steve, we need to talk. And of course I get, 300 messages a day. And something struck me on this guy. And so I got on Zoom with him and he told me straight out after a couple of minutes, he said, this is where I think you need help. And he told me, I'm like, okay, help me. He's like, really? I'm like, yeah. What do you mean? Why wouldn't I? Well, I didn't think someone like you, who's someone like me? Your perception of me is all you know. Now you know me. Bring it. Teach me. He's like, wow. I'm like, go. So now we're going. And it's like we have this natural barrier. Oh, he must know what he's doing because he's talking well. Or she's in that position. They must know what she's doing. You got to realize I'm talking to world leaders. I had the defense minister of Germany one time at dinner. I didn't even know he was coming. Sven invited him. We were living in Germany at the time. And then they show up. I'm like, dude, how come you tell me he was coming? I'm wearing like t-shirts and a polo, I'm like, and these guys are in suits. I'm like a dork, right? Sitting at the table. And they, I'm like, tell me next time, please. Right. And they started asking me questions. And I'm asking myself, why are they asking me these questions about the debt ceiling, Obama, and all this kind of stuff? It was back in the day when Obama was in office. I'm thinking like, I have no clue what they're talking about. But I said this, and this is what really like turned a knob for me. As I said, if these guys are in that position and they're looking at me and they think that I know and they expect that I know, well, then obviously I must know. So I opened up and just expected me to do it. And they think that I can do it and they see it in me, then I guess I got to do it. And I did. And I answered. And I'll be damned. 4 months later, everything that I said happened. And then they accused me of being CIA. And I was like, oh, shit, here we go. You know what I mean? So it was like this whole back and forth. How did you know? There's no way that you can know. Nobody would know. And I'm like, oh, Jesus. You know? So, yeah. And
it's just so perfect.
Sven even dropped me for 6 months. They ousted me from the organization. We founded a political pressure group in Germany, non-party. And we raised a lot of money and we moved this thing. Actually, now it became the largest party in Germany. It's now the most popular party in Germany. And I still consult them. It's the AfD, the Alternative for Germany. I don't know if you heard of it. Alternative for Deutschland. And, I remembered back when I just got into the corporate job, the first job, I had my cocktail bars. And then one of the guests were like, hey, you need to come work for me. I'm like, work for you? I'm an entrepreneur. Look at this. And he said, no, I want you to run this corporation, this listed company. I'm like, really? All right. Let's do it. So I started doing it. And I was frustrated. I was like, I'm wearing a suit and tie. I'm like, oh, it was like air conditioner was broken. I was sweating. I said, Mark, you know what? Because his name was Mark Minter, a British South African guy. I was like, I'm done. This is not me, dude. I have my bars. I'm doing well. I don't need this shit. And he said, Steven, shut up. If I see something in you, if anybody sees something in you, all you need to do is embrace it. And I was like, damn, that's profound. And I did it. And I crushed it. And I broke every record that company ever had for revenue, for sales, and for you name it. I did it. It was crazy. Effortlessly. Because when someone expected something of me, I'm like, all right. And it's like, you don't think about it. You just do it.
That's so amazing because that philosophy, the I hate to say mindset because it's not necessarily that. It's the true depth of a character. It's that principle, the pillar of self, that identity of doing, showing up, putting forth the best effort. I mean, here you are in polo shirt and shorts.
What's the common theme of everything that I've said so far? What's the common theme? Simplicity. Creating space, hit, receive, decide, let go, all that stuff. When someone sees something in you, embrace it. It's all simple. It's very simple. We make it too complicated because we think. We're programmed, we're trained, we're, all this knowledge we get and all these things we learn, and we have to put it to use. And that's why I'm so smart, not coaching. No, these are just tipping points for you to find you in there and create something that nobody else has.
That's so awesome. It really is just so simple and perfect.
It is.
Because
it's absolutely simple.
I'm the guy that my dad literally had to use that kiss metaphor my entire life, even still to this day at Christmas. keep it simple, stupid. And I'm like, oh, okay. Like it is. But even then, now with HIT and these concepts, and when I'm thinking about jointab.us, I'm like, hey, it doesn't seem like this far-fetched construct that people might want. It seems like something that people are asking for and need in a way where it's conversations like this where they get to be not just educated but invited to participate, where I don't see that happening. I don't hear other people that are communicating in a way where they have these success points, right? These success markers or KPIs. People think I don't know stuff. I kind of know things. Don't ask me what it means. What does it mean? Keith, probably idiot. I don't know. But I've heard some of these words, right? And it's really great Because when you think about it, that's the intimidation factors that keep people from participating. It's not
Yeah.
it's not
Well,
that they don't want to, it's these identities that they may have of themselves or these perceptions of the world, their responsibilities as an individual. Like, where does that start and stop, right? How then do we participate better as a society in not just thinking, but taking and creating and doing?
it always starts with you. It always starts with you because, like I said, if I'm honest with myself, I might not like that person across from me. Oh, damn Democrat. Oh, the damn Republican, MAGA, far right, America First, all these things, all these labels, right? If you're happy and excited about a post that you see, or if you're upset and angry about a post you see, both is the same system that's manipulating you. You're happy because it's supporting your bias, or you're unhappy because it's against your bias. There is no middle. Tab, right? We are common sense. We're a foundational structure. We're not political. We're a foundational structure to build for citizens who want to lead. Now, this book can be used for businesses. It can be used for government. It can be used for local governments, anything. And that's the beauty of it, because it's all about lack of ego, building a person up, letting them rise, and they have their limits where they move on to the next step, and someone else replaces them through the same procedure, the same processes. It's the doctrine is what it is. And anyone can use that doctrine. So picture this: Republicans, independents, Democrats, right? We have right now 2 people running for governor, a couple running for Congress, a few city hall and a few city council people, and I think 2 sheriffs maybe, who want to use the doctrine to run. Now, if they run and they get in, and then the next cycle someone runs and we start, sooner or later we're going to have a roster of TAB certified citizen servant leaders. And once that TAB certified citizen servant leader roster is big enough, we can start a PAC where we're actually supporting citizen servant leaders from all parties to go in and speak the language of a citizen servant leader, which is polite. You listen, you don't swear and cuss and all that kind of stuff. You have to sign an oath that says that you're going to follow this doctrine. And if you don't, we have the right to revoke that title of citizen servant leader. Because what happened to the art of communication in our world and in America? In Turkey here, I've never, not one time in 3.5 years, seen someone yell at somebody on the street, flip somebody off in the traffic, have some hate rage at school, 0 bullying, 0 problem between the kids, 0. Very polite people, very kind people, very calm people. You're at the park, people are watching out for your kids, and it's amazing. Go to America. No, you have to go to America. You can be online, and the first line you saw out of someone's mouth is, "You freaking asshole." They don't even know who I am. So what happened to the art of communication, right? The art of communication has been destroyed through identity politics. So we strip that away. We're not talking about identity, who you are, what you stand for, nothing. It doesn't matter what you say. It doesn't matter what you do. It matters how you do it and how you say it. And if you say it cordially and you listen and you do the things that you do in a way that's respectful to other people, you're going to get listened to and you're going to move the needle. That's what Join Tab is right now. And this is how people can read the book, take the course, become certified. And it's not ready yet. We're still editing it. Because take the course and become certified, and then step into leadership. And it's also, you can use it at home, as with your family, a better leader, a better father, a better mother, into your community, into your, whatever, parents club or whatever the heck is that you do, science, all the way up to president. And I'm telling you right now, this was the most effortless thing I've ever done in my life. I didn't even try. It just started coming out of me. And I became this. And now I have, we have 30, 40, 50 people every single day that join us every single day. Bam, 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 bam. I do 1 video a day. It's about a 3-minute video. It's on my Instagram channel, Steven Eugene Kuhn. It's on TikTok. It's on YouTube, all that kind of stuff. It's all Steven Eugene Kuhn, except for Twitter, what's called X, is Steven E. Kuhn. I did a video the other day. I've done 1 million views. Yesterday, the last 3 days, like 3.5 million views just on Instagram. Simple. Nothing is complicated. And let me answer another question that you said before. Is a lot of people talk, all these talking heads, all these influencers. It's outrage. That's all it is. Are they offering a solution? Are they giving you tools that you can work with so that you can solve any problems? No, they're not. Well, we are. That's what we're doing.
If you can't tell, I'm trying to hold my excitement back on just like how many of these words. Trust me, folk, when you catch on, when the shows come out, this season's gonna be fucking nuts. You have no idea how much you're blowing my fucking mind right now. Like
Awesome. Awesome, man.
I
Awesome. That's so
try to
awesome.
keep the face up for the show during record. I can't do it, dude. Like people are gonna just absolutely flip their shit because you just hit on so many of the solutions, the problems me and my mentors have discussed. I bring him up a lot because Admiral Faison helped me get from one command to the next where I needed intensive medical treatment. And we were discussing things at length about solutions, right? Outrage is one thing, that's fine, but now what, right? Dawn Myricks, amazing lady, just beautiful soul. We were talking the other day, right? We have a really great season, and the one thing she brought up was biotechnologies, right? The one thing that just this conversation for us is just there's so many. There was so many for her as well, but the one thing that I was like, I know that stuff very well. Blood products, right? And she said room temperature blood. I was like, I know. What did you just say? What you just say? Because that's massive, right? And I don't mean it like,
Yeah.
Hey, OnlyFans massive, like nobody knew what that was going to be, or Airbnb. I mean, like, guys, look, maybe you don't know what leaders are talking about, but it's not fun for you and me. And if I could just recommend, just maybe, like Wi-Fi is great, but if we could have, room temperature blood before these things kick off, I think wouldn't work the things that people are actually trying to target and get done, but two, it would be great for everybody. So solutions.
Yeah.
Communication. You're so eloquently just beating me open into submission of sharing right now, which I didn't want to do. I'm like, no, just focus on them. Look at this amazing stuff. I'm like, it's too amazing. It's too amazing.
Look, man, it's the ease of conversation when there's no expectation.
That's so true.
Right? I don't have an expectation of what's supposed to come out of this. I don't have anything I'm driving. I don't have anything I'm selling. I'm telling you who I am, what I'm doing, and why I'm doing it. It's simple as that. If that excites you, I'm honored. I really am. And that's all that matters.
It does. It just excites me so much because
awesome.
Here's the thing. When I meet people go, why do you do the show? And I love this that you said it that way. I have no expectations. I have no desires. I have no wants. It's literal altruism. And it puts people in a place where they're just like, all of the bells and whistles go off in this weird counterproductive way because we as human beings do this, but we do this in a way where we only stop certain things that we perceive as non-authoritative, right? And the authority then gets to slip punches in any which direction that they want under the guise of it knowing better or knowing more, or we just don't want to deal with it. It's this guy's obligation. It's that guy's job. It's not my job. It's their job. But at what point in time do we realize that as responsible citizens, we have to perform duties informed and we have to conduct ourselves as such, like the oath for jointab.us? And if not, by Greek definition, we're idiots. Okay. Right. So I'm just saying.
Oh, look, we have two types of people in America. We got builders and we got destroyers. Right? We got builders, and builders are typically too busy working and taking care of the family and earning money and stuff like that to be able to go out and do any damage. But the destroyers, that's what they live for, right? And the builders have to start taking a little bit of time and start building again, not just for themselves, but for our country, because our republic is in grave danger, more than I can even say. Now, I work with everyone all the way up. Like I got a thank you from Donald Trump about 2 months ago when I passed on some information that I got from one of my intel guys in Europe. Right? He actually thanked me for it, not directly, but through my guy. And so I have all this information that I sometimes use and sometimes don't use. And we need to step up. We need to step up. And that's one of the reasons why I started with the book is I said, okay, if I can tell people stories, get them to relate, and then teach them a lesson out of that, and then show them how to implement that in their own lives, the natural outcome will be they will be better people, period. That's like the first step. Second step is you want to take it further and not just keep it for yourself, take the course, right? That course, it's pretty tough course. But once you get certified with that, you're literally weaponized to be a citizen servant leader that knows how to lead, that knows how to delegate the task, not the responsibility, that knows how to empower people, and knows how to step aside when it's time. Because if you think about it, for me, this is a digital version of how the Republic was started when they met in barns, in pubs, and basements, right? They were sort of like, well, how are we going to do this? What's going to happen? How are we going to take over from the Brits? That's sort of what's going on now. And remember, you can change at the top all you want, as long as that system's there. All those beholden people. I get it too. You got Mary who works in admin of, let's say, USAID, right? Her job is to push the button that automatically signs the check and sends the money, right? She's like, look, if I don't do this, first of all, right, I don't know what's going on. I'm just a button pusher. I got a mortgage. I got kids in college. I got, all this kind of stuff. So I get it. Same thing happened when I was when I was talking to a buddy of mine who's a cop during COVID. And I saw a video online and I thought, did I just see you online throwing someone on the ground because they weren't wearing a mask? He goes, yeah, it was me. I'm like, you idiot. What the hell is wrong with you? He goes, dude, if I don't do that, I lose my job. I lose my pension. I can't pay my mortgage, my kids, all this kind of stuff. It's weaponized debt, man. That's the number one thing in America that keeps most people beholden is weaponized debt. If you step out of line, you lose everything. And that's why that infrastructure under the leadership all the way down is so beholden, because if they don't push that button, they might lose their job, which means they lose everything. So we have to fix that. So part of TAB is not only a media company, but also a training company. And that training company is going to help these citizen servant leaders who choose to figure out how to get rid of their debt. And I have people that do this for a living. I'm not going to do it. Again, in delegation, to get people rid of the debt, to get them ready to set into, because when you're in debt also, and you run for politics, that's a leverage point for the enemy.
Absolutely.
Right? So all of these things are included. Right now, it's the book and it's the course. Then it's the media company we're setting up in Florida. And we're going to have a newsroom. We're going to have the whole works, training, an academy. Once someone gets trained through and they start stepping into citizen servant leadership, maybe they get elected, we're going to have a scholarship program where we bring them down to Florida. And I'm going to bring in the best political consultants, the best strategists globally that I know. And I know a bunch of them. I've already spoken to them like, Steven, that would be amazing. Bring them all to one room and we're going to train these people. Let's say, imagine you have a city hall person that's getting strategy briefings from the guy who consults the German prime minister, the Hungarian prime minister, the Chilean prime minister, European leadership. Imagine getting someone in a room with just a city council guy that gets that level of, can you imagine the power that person is going to have when they step into the room next time? This is the kind of stuff we're doing. It doesn't exist. It never existed. This was only for the special people, the rich people, the ones. This is for everybody. It's amazing. And I'm so humbled by the fact that I was delivered this or downloaded it or whatever it was, that I developed out of nothing. And here it is actualizing itself right in front of me live. How all the people that are just joining me saying, Steve, we don't want anything. Just because there's, you can sponsor us with $5 a month, $11 a month, or whatever it is to help us build this. People are doing it, man, in droves, because they believe in it. And because the time has come. The time has come where people have had enough of the establishment, of the back and forth, of the you against I, and there hasn't been enough good in our world for a long time. And it's time to get it back. And that's what we're doing.
No, that I am, like I said, good thing I have to, push end recording at one point in time and we can talk, because I'm like, fuck. My guy, you just stepped in it. Like, I love it, dude. I'm a really regular dude, right? I'm just the dude, right? When I was in the Navy, that's what I did when I was a young man. and you creating that space for people. Something I didn't use those terms before, but I was just the dude, man. You know, you want to come chill, yeah. You want to knock back a few, cool. You want to knock some girl, all right, whatever. But the dude abides. It just this vibe of altruism and love. And I loved that, because when you needed if you needed, right, you need a PS2 in Iraq, you want a PS2 in Iraq, okay? you want something that plays DVDs, okay? There's a lot of things you want to look at besides stuff that you see, and or play video games, whatever it may have you. These things, even brownies, Copenhagen, which I love, you know, dip, the real shit from fucking steak size, not that formaldehyde, fuck that, but. Yes, they had. So of course, the VA, of course, they do everything according to my kids. It's ridiculous. The next, the PX, whatever, gave us the stuff when we were out in Iraq, right? They would give you bricks. Okay, they had chaw, they had, you know, tobacco products, but it was not the good ones. Okay. No. And we would get care packages like from everywhere, you know, shit. I remember my sister's 3rd grade class or 4th grade class sent us a box full of Copenhagen and brownies and letters. And of course, their letters had nothing to do with everything else, but it was, you know, my mom's box, you know, filled with all their shit. Yeah. So it was really ridiculous to open this box up in front of my, you know, my guys, my crew, everybody that we were out there with. And the first thing they open up is a bunch of kid letters. We're handing them out, right? Everybody's reading one. And then the next thing you see is just, you know, like real Copenhagen. And then like my thing was Red Man. I enjoyed it, right? And Black and Milds. And then, of course, Newports. People, use all your words that you want to use about me.
Dude, I was saying, that's the military cigarette. Newports and Red Man. Come on, man. Yeah.
And that's the funniest thing. And the coolest part was at the end of it, right? We all got together. Well, of course, because we were ripping out of the country. In Germany. So when you bring up Germany, it's a very fond memory of mine. I couldn't tell you the airport, but when you land, it's just the most gorgeous, green, plush, beautiful area in September. Could never tell you what it was. What
year was it?
2006.
It was Ramstein.
Okay. Yeah. It was beautiful. And we drank the entire airport dry, and or bought everything that they had, and they sequestered us because we were deemed biohazards. No bullshit. The German government deemed us all biohazards because of the environment we were exposed to. So go figure. You know, now it's 20 years later. Jesus Christ,
dude! I was in war in 1990. I went to Iraq in 1990. We didn't even have telephones then. You know, I mean, we got care letters too, care packages. They would send you a letter with cigarettes laid flat in the envelope, and would roll through the printer of the post office. All the cigarettes are flat. You know, it was like, you know, we still smoked them. You know, and so there was no cell phones, there was no computers, nothing back then. Can you imagine? You know, so we had satellite phones in the office, and these in the desert, and the satellite dish was as big as a 5-story building in the middle of the desert, and they had GP large tents. Like 200 phones inside, nailed to boards. 200 soldiers would go in, they'd be like, and they were like these telephones, right? Nailed to boards. No shit. Yeah. And then, all right, you got 5 minutes, go. And they turn it on, everybody calls, hey mom, how's it going? You're 3, 2, 1, click, everybody's off, 200 guys out, 200 guys in, next. That's how it was. That was crazy. Dude, it was crazy. And showers. We didn't shower either. Yeah. We didn't shower either. We didn't shower. They had GP mediums with poles going through them, 4 rows of poles with little holes drilled in it, and it was one stream of water. And they should 200 guys went in, and sometimes one girl would go in, and we'd be all buck naked, turn on the water. You got 3 minutes to shower, turn it off, everybody out, the next 200. It was crazy, man.
Dude. See, that's that old school stuff nobody talks about. Like when nowadays, I know things are a lot better, but there's still those operations and those trainings and those events that you are roughing it, right? The whole build out, like for logistics and supply, and you know, dominance and command, and then whatever else, the elements of, you know, doing a job, right? It's just beautiful because you bring up the rotodial.
We got busted stealing water.
What was the water part?
Go ahead. No, I said we got busted stealing water because we didn't have any water. We were the front. We were the 8th Cav. We were in the very, very front. And supply trains, by the time everything got to us, it was gone. You know, if they send 20 cases of water, by the time it gets to us, we get 1 bottle. You know, everybody on the way up takes it. And so we were out of water. So I took a Humvee one night, middle of the night, went back to the supply trains, and we're like stealing water, cases of water from our own supply so we could have water to drink. Man, it was nuts in the middle of the desert. It was crazy. But, you know, it was a period where I became human in Iraq. I just one story before we go. I was standing after the ceasefire, standing on Highway 8 outside of Basra, where President Bush had said, if the Shiites do an uprising against Saddam, we're going to support them. Well, they did the uprising and we didn't support them. And they got massacred and slaughtered. All the civilians and all the soldiers would come to us. And we could take the soldiers prisoner and feed them and put them in a pit and wait for the trucks to pick them up. And they take them to the EPW camps. And then the civilians, we had to send them back out in the desert, because we couldn't do anything with them. And one time there was a little girl that was walking towards me in a pink dress with her arms out to her sides like she was playing airplane. And I'm looking at her. As she got closer, I saw she was burnt from the head down, and they had put this pink dress on top of her where her clothes were burnt into her skin. So I sent her to the medics in the track that we had right there. And when she came out, she was bandaged, and I was like, oh my God, like this beautiful little girl, And I got down on my knee and I reached into my grenade pockets, my flak jacket, and I pulled out a butterscotch candy from my aunt. She used to send it to me. And I handed this little girl. And she took it and she looked at me like, can I eat it? I'm like, yeah. She didn't say that, but she was like, And she took it and she smiled. Dude. Here's a little girl walking through the desert, completely alone, completely burnt, probably lost everything, and probably her family as well. And she's smiling because of a piece of candy. And in that moment, I knew, I'm like, I'm upset because I'm sweating. I can't even smile because I'm sweating. And there she is losing everything. She's smiling because of a piece of candy. It blew my mind. I sat there. I just wanted to like hug her. I was crying like in front of her. I couldn't even help it. I was like, I lost it, And I was like, this poor little girl, I want to take her home with me. I want to protect her. I want to keep her. And to this day, I look for her. It's like wherever I am. Where are you from? It's like I'm always looking. She should be about 40 right now. So probably. So, it changed me. Iraq really changed me. And it wasn't really the things that I did that changed me. It was the things that I didn't do that actually really changed me. Things I should have done, or I, should have spoke up about or whatever. That's the things that follow me the most. But it's all forces that we can use for good. And that's what I'm doing.
No, that's amazing. I relate to this story, to the experience so profoundly so. And it goes back to the volumes of even your wife's message of speaking up when you feel that you can't or shouldn't, or whatever the premises or parameters may be, because that weight that we carry can literally crush the very soul that is meant to be living on this earth, lifting
Amen.
And creating, building, and just unifying. Whatever the light is calling you to do it proudly, do it boldly, do it without partiality. And I think that's where we, as people like your friend that have, a debt leveraged or a duress or oppressive life through the fear of retaliation, there isn't something that we can't do because it's already happening. So the next steps are to unify, right? Join tab.us, right?
There you go.
Perfect blood, like perfect segue. Let's go right back into it.
By the way, the COO is a 21-year Navy vet.
Solid.
My COO, yeah.
Solid. See, and that's the best part is when we unify under these great callings, and we build out these amazing programs, these amazing resources to do the next work that God calls us to be and doing and create. I feel just so overwhelmed, like I was saying, right? Just so overwhelmed. Any shout outs, anything like that before we get going?
No, just, follow me if you want to see more and about my videos every day. I do on geopolitics and a little bit of European politics and things like that. And a little bit of the world, Venezuela, I did a big video on and things like that. And I usually give some insider information that most people don't have. I'm fortunate to have. Just follow me, Steven Eugene Kuhn, as my name is, on just about every channel there is, except for X. It's Steven E. Kuhn. And I'd love to have you. Write me if you can, and then we'll see what happens. jointab.us. Get there. Do it. Help us build infrastructure that's going to change America from the bottom up, for the people, by the people.